Okay, team. So we are here today with my friend Joel. He knows a ton about crypto. And in today's video, we're going to look at some really interesting altcoin technologies that may blow up in the future. Now, again, before we go into those technologies and tokens, I can't guarantee any of these are going to succeed, but I do think the technologies behind these tokens are super interesting. And so make sure to stick around and watch to the very end. And let's take a look. Okay, so the first token I really want to look at is VeChain. Now, VeChain was created by the former CIO of Louis Vuitton. It was founded in 2015 and launched in 2016. And again, I think the technology is super interesting. What VeChain actually does is it's a supply chain management token. So it looks back at the entire production of a physical product and basically ensures that you're buying the correct product and that the supply in your supply chain is legitimate through blockchain technology. You know, one of the big endearing things about blockchain is that it's safe. You know, you don't have to worry about anybody necessarily tampering with it. And so, you know, he originally created it obviously for luxury goods here. But I think in the future, the utility for this type of technology will be huge. I think you can use it in a lot of different, you know, facets of business, whether it's, you know, luxury brands or food or any physical good, really. And I think that's really what's going to take the technology to the next level. The way it works is like there's two different native tokens to this platform. The first one is VTHO, and VTHO is used to basically pay for those transactions. It's generated by the holders of the VeChain token. So if a user wants to transact on the VTHO blockchain, they have the option of either purchasing VTHO tokens on the market to use, or they could also purchase VeChain tokens, which can then be used to create more VTHO tokens, if that makes sense. The two token system is originally designed to help keep those costs low, the transaction costs, to help keep that down. And again, I think this has huge utility over a lot of different, you know, facets of business, really. I think the counterfeit issues with a lot of businesses are huge, especially with like luxury items, with Louis Vuitton, with, you know, Versace, with watches, with anything you can really think of. There's usually a counterfeit market for it. And so I think VeChain can kind of help solve those issues and save businesses a ton of money, which will get a lot of those businesses on board, if that makes sense.
What I personally find really compelling about this is just that from a consumer perspective, like sometimes you buy some of these luxury goods, you get like a certificate of authenticity inside of it.
Right. Correct.
Here's a good one. My wife loves Flower Bomb, which is it's a fragrance, right. and that it's by Victor and Rolf, and one of the issues with a lot of the fragrances that are sold on like Amazon and on all these different places is that they're knockoffs. You know, they get knocked off and put in these bottles and sold these really huge markups. And, you know, if there was something inside that box that had that, not just that certificate of authenticity, but a, like a blockchain code or something like that, that we could go online and we could verify, hey, I actually got a real product, you know, that I think that the inherent value of that in the consumer knowing that they're getting authentic products is really big, because I know me personally, you know, like I bought stuff on Amazon that turned out to be counterfeit before, and I was like, no way, dude, you know, like this thing's like, you know, 25% off of MSRP. Right. I'm like, all right, cool, dope deal. Got it. And I was like, oh, dude, this thing's a fake. Yeah. I was like, it's plastic here. It's not metal. What the heck?
Right.
You know?
And that's what the technology solves too. And like the way they do it is like, they give physical goods unique identifiers, and then they use that to record each different stage of production in the supply chain. And so using that, the info can't be messed with because it's on the blockchain. So it can't be tampered with, it can't be messed with, and it will ultimately do what you're saying, which is that help people feel more confident in the products they're buying and also save businesses a lot of money. You want to find the technologies that you think will be huge in the future and to get them while they're cheap. And I think this technology could be big in the future. Currently, you know, it's sitting right around 12 cents, right around 11 cents. And so, you know, if it does get big in the future, there's some room on the upside for sure. And if you look at the price over the last year, I don't mind this dip. I think if we're looking at it from a technical perspective, I think that we had this huge run up to 25 back in April, and we are pulling back some from then, but we've recently been on another bull run. And so I think we are pulling back to some support, and I think it'll be a really interesting coin to look at in the next few months and the next few years, really.
You know, the next one that I want to look at is Agron. Agron is actually earlier this week hit all-time highs, which is absolutely amazing because, you know, I remember I was bullish on this, maybe 6 months ago, and you know, I had people telling me, hey, you know, you're crazy to be bullish on that. You know, it's not going anywhere. But what I really love about Agron, first off, if we look at the just the specs of it without getting into the technology yet, one thing I love about it is that the supply is capped at 10 billion. First off, I like that the supply being capped at a number that isn't ridiculous. I see some coins that come out where they're not, you know, they're float
ridiculous numbers. Yeah,
it's like 100 trillion. Like, you know, I mean,
crazy.
We're gonna be staking that, you know, our grandkids will be staking that thing to try and get that thing up. You know, Agron being at 10 billion, you know, it's a little bit more realistic to hit that cap. You know, I could see that hitting that cap around 2030, maybe 5-10 years from now. I would say closer to 10 years to be hitting that cap. And when that, you know, as that cap begins to go up, you know, this is what we call an inflationary coin. It's like Bitcoin in that sense, where it has a limit on that cap. And Bitcoin for years was riding like the $600 mark, and you know, a lot of people for years were just like, yeah, that thing's not going anywhere. And it's just as the supply begins to get absorbed, you know, that sends the prices up. So that's one thing I really like about it. Another thing that I really like about Algo is that it's a stake coin. I believe that stake coins are the future. I think that the proof of work is kind of like blockchain 1.0. I think that proof of stake is kind of like blockchain 2.0. And hear me out on that, because I know a lot of it's a very controversial.
The miners will riot. You know.
The reason why is because, you know, there's a huge amount of negative press for the amount of energy that it takes to mine any type of crypto.
Completely agree.
Yeah, I mean, and the reality is, it does take a ton of energy. I mean, one miner, you know, could cost an individual person at a residence $15,000 a year to run on their electricity for that one miner. And you know, I mean, that is a huge amount. Think about that off of that one miner. Now, when you look at, you know, major mining companies, they have thousands or sometimes even tens of thousands of miners inside of warehouses. And how much electrical draw is that bringing? You know, and that electrical draw is, you know, it's putting, you know, issues on the grid. Imagine, you know, in Texas, you know, during that crazy winter. Oh man, what would happen to those crypto miners there?
Yeah, it would be. I mean, the energy bills are too high here, but like for sure, I think that when you really think about it, even Elon Musk came out against some of the energy that's being used to mine some of these currencies, and so I absolutely agree. I think that proof of stake is the future. I think proof of work, while it makes sense and it works, I think the government is going to be pushing against that as well. I think eventually regulation is going to come up against that. It's just going to get worse and worse. I know that's what China is doing now, and I think that could be right around the corner for the U.S. as well, just because of the amount of energy it uses and consumes.
I think one of the other issues that we run into a lot with proof of work that we don't run into very frequently with proof of stake is the transaction times. The time that it takes to confirm the transactions can be really long. Bitcoin's gotten better with its Lightning Network, but I remember 2, 3, 4, 5 days in order to make a transaction.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just not functional. I mean, it's not functional in the sense of like being able to check out at a restaurant. You know, you know.
You can't use it if it takes
Yeah,
6 hours. You know, you're not going to sit at McDonald's for 6 hours. You're going to roll out and say, "I'm done." You know,
exactly. So Agron, one thing very specifically that they target is those transaction times and transaction fees. Now, if you've ever transacted any crypto, you know the fees can get insane.
oh, absolutely.
Like nuts, like Ethereum fees and Bitcoin fees and Tether fees. All of those things can be huge. Sometimes $50-$60 to send something.
Huge percentages of the overall transaction, unless you're buying like big amounts, but sometimes they scale too. So it's just, the fees are one of the hardest things of crypto. Hardest parts of crypto is the fees.
Exactly. So Algorand solves all those issues. It's kind of a newer coin to the game. Came out in June 2019, and but by December they had over 1 million transactions transacted every day, and that's only been increasing, and that's evident on the chart. Just watching the chart movement. I mean, you could see in through the last year we just had nothing but growth with Agron, and is from the technology standpoint of this, what I really like about it is it's got that proof of stake, it's got that it's got that ability to just sit and hold it and gain interest from holding it, and I think its fast transactions is going to really help improve a lot of efficiency as we move towards that Web 3.0, which I really think is what the future is the new web will be on blockchain. I absolutely believe that.
It's actually pretty cheap as well. It's currently sitting right around 190 level. If you look short term, it recently broke all-time highs, like you said, and it's now pulling back a little bit as well. And so I think even short term, it might be a really solid entry after we got that really big rip up to the highs at 240s. And then we're kind of pulling back to the $2 level just underneath that. From a technical perspective, I think that looks interesting as well.
Another one that it's kind of similar to Agron, but a little bit different is Tezos, XTZ. Okay. So Tezos does not have a cap supply. So it just has a total supply that's constantly circulating. But what I do like about Tezos is this is another stake coin. What I like about Tezos is that if you hold 8,000 Tezos or more, you can be what's called a Tezos baker. And the baker, what they get to do is they get to have a vote on where the network should go and what the network should support. And people who have less than 8,000 tokens can choose to move to a different baker if they don't align with that baker's values. So it's
kind of like board members a little bit, like kind of like,
Okay. It's a self-governing coin, which is one thing that really sets it apart. And with those self-governing coins, it allows people to vote with their wallet, and it allows people to sort of be democratic about, I would say, more of like a democratic republic in that regard, since there's people that are appointed more or less to be able to make those voting decisions, but people get to vote with their wallet, and they can invest more in a different baker. And on top of that, they can earn 4, 5, 6% interest on it just by holding it, just by staking it. And so that's one thing I really like about it. You can see today Tezos ripped over the last 24 hours, like 30%. Is huge, such a huge rip, and the volume that's going through Tezos right now is just incredible. I've been trading it all day. That's the one I've really been focused on today.
Billions.
I've been holding Tezos now for about a year, and I got in right around the $2 mark for a lot of the Tezos, and I've just been reinvesting for the last year on it. Yeah, and also one more thing that I forgot to mention about Tezos as well is that it's immune to forking, which is really important because you've seen SHA-256 Bitcoin code fork at this point now what seems like hundreds of times. There's everything from Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash to Bitcoin Gold to Bitcoin Diamond to Bitcoin Platinum to Bitcoin SUV, so there's so many different forks now happening in the Bitcoin network and in the Ethereum network. So Tezos being immune to forking, it really adds a lot of value to it, because that means that you're not going to have your future more or less staked on staked on this thing splitting out. And will the original coin still hold up, or will it fail in favor of the fork? So that's one thing I really like about it. You're not having to worry if forks are going to happen. So next up, we got Atom Cosmos coin, symbol is ATOM. And, couple of things that I really like about Atom. The stake, the interest that you can earn from staking is really high. I think, it's in the 5 to 6% range, which is really awesome about it. So this is another one that you could just, buy and hold kind of thing, and almost treat it like a dividend investment. And so that's one thing I really like about it. There's not any savings accounts or CDs out there that are going to get you 5 or 6%. So that's pretty awesome in the way of the staking aspect and interest you can earn from it. Additionally, it's held its levels, it's held its prices really well. Traditionally. So, I mean, like, even when we have pullbacks, we're pulling back to like the $19, $20 range. So it's held its gains over the year or so that I've been holding it. And so that is another aspect of strength, a sign of strength that I personally see with it. But when we start looking into the technology of it, Cosmos Atom coin is all about scalability. You can see on CoinMarketCap, that it's been described as blockchain 3.0. The whole reason why Cosmos exists is that it's looking to solve those issues that Bitcoin and Ethereum run into, where they're having the proof of work issues, they're having the the mining fees and things like that. And even Ethereum is looking to get away from proof of work and switch over to proof of stake.
But okay, guys, so yeah, those are the coins and tokens and technologies that we think are the most interesting. Again, if you have any coin or technology or cryptocurrency that you want to see us go more in depth, leave it in the comments below. Let us know how you feel about these current picks, and also go check out Joel's info. He has a website, joelstraight.com. We'll include that link in the description. Go check him out. Check out his website. And we'll see you guys next time. Hopefully this will be a recurring thing where we'll talk about the newest technologies and cryptocurrencies with Joel and any other guests. And y'all be safe. Good luck. And we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.